Gaming Showcase Finals in Washington. They're gonna bury here to go on to face
Hello, good afternoon if you're on the state side of this endeavor. Good evening to those across the pond, live here in studio with you alongside a bunch of great talents today. My name is Nick DeMeo, aka F5 Penguin, and welcome to the Caps Gaming Showcase Season number 3, the EU Division. This is week number 2, live to you on twitch.tv/capitals, presented to you by Leidos, and hosted and powered by Leaguegaming.com. Good evening and welcome. I hope everybody had an amazing kickoff and week number 1 start to the season. What a great showing by H-Reds in our featured matchup of that afternoon. But we've got a great one here for you tonight. This one might rival some of the most intense action you may have seen so far in EU Esports. We have IQUE facing Frolunda. A little bit more about that name as we get further into the opening of the broadcast, as the teams are filing their way from the locker rooms onto the virtual ice. I am so excited about this because this matchup is going to be an interesting one. Teams of championship caliber across the board. You know some of the names extremely well, and it doesn't take away from the fact that on the other side of the ice is a contender in a couple of those players as well, specifically in some of the hitting power we have with some of the forwards on IQUE. More on that later as well. But first, without further ado, we are going to bring in my cohort, my sidekick, my partner that be. It is King Lime right here joining us on this Caps Gaming Showcase. Lime, a great week last week, an amazing high-octane action across 2 broadcasts. We have our 3rd one here this evening. How are you feeling?
I'm excited for this one. Just like you said, a little different team name, same old fellas on there, and they have been fantastic, as we know, over in Europe. So I am very excited to see what Frolunda can do, but a strong test in IQUE, as I know a few of the names over there as well.
Yeah, we know the names. We know a lot of the names. And if you look at some of the names, you know them extremely well. And that's what makes this one, I think, a more exciting matchup than what we may have seen in the past from teams like this. So I am excited just because, again, I know a lot of these EU players extremely well for me. And it's always an honor to get to call some of this high-octane action with a guy like the MVP, some may argue, IQUE himself, in the Frolunda Hockey Club. And that is also interesting because that is a newly formed partnership from what was Fila in the past, now coming full circle and changing up their team name. They're merging together, but that doesn't take away from their skill.
Yeah, and to most North American guys that don't know the EU side of thing, IQUE is really just the face of it. We know IQUE as the man, and he's proven that time in and time out. We've seen him in the ones competition, and here we see him in sixes, and it's so nice to see the skill that we got to see from the North America side, where we got to see those ones players translate into sixes, and we get to see IQUE do it, and it's just so exciting, as obviously a big piece in that Frolunda chapter.
Absolutely, and he's not alone, of course. We'll talk more about the lineup, but I mean, you got guys like Patslav, you got Playmaker, you have Loimu. These are names that I've called for years on end now, so it just rolls off the tongue naturally as we take a look at the lineup one more time. IQUE and Frolunda, right, Lime?
Yeah, IQUE with Frolunda. And, there's just so many great stats between these two teams, isn't it, Major?
Yeah, absolutely. And then you look at how deep that this Frolunda team is. I mean, we obviously talk about IQUE. He's the big name in EU, the face of arguably the HUD side, and definitely for the Sixes side as well. But this team is just so deep across the board. Patslav, Playmaker, and IQUE, guys that have played together for tournaments upon tournaments upon tournaments. They have that chemistry together. And when the wealth is spread across so well like that with a team as talented as this, it really makes it that much easier for them and so hard to defend when you're their opposition. It'll be interesting to see how IQUE comes in and plays the team, especially with how aggressive they are on the defensive end, where four is known to be very aggressive in hitting and putting the body. So it'll be interesting to see how that style goes up against a high-powered offense in Frolunda.
Yeah, and then you've got the hitting, which obviously Nick spoke about, Major, on the IQ side. Do you think that's going to be tough for Frolunda to go against?
I think it will, because that's something you really, really, really do have to kind of adapt to, really.
Right.
I mean, really, you look at that. It's not something that you see as much, really, in NA or in EU, where you see that much hitting. I mean, even more specifically, you see on the IQ side with the left winger tonight in the Epi, he is tied for third in the league so far with 25 in just 2 games. That is an absolutely ridiculous stat line. So it's going to be really tough, specifically for guys like IQUE on that right side, to be able to make that move, because he is going to press up a little bit more than what you would maybe be used to with other teams. So that's definitely going to be something to look out for as this game develops.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. As we do know, Major, the EU side does love to work the puck around the outside and use those small, skilled builds. Now, having a player come in and throw the body around, what kind of defense do you think we're going to see from IQ to kind of hold down Frolunda?
I think it's going to be pretty aggressive. I think that with the chemistry that this team has built, I think you kind of know as a defenseman that your winger wants to push up and play the body on. So I think you kind of come in knowing that, and you'll probably see the defense, and specifically Nico being the lefty on that side with Niepi. You'll see him probably play back and not be as aggressive maybe on the blue line, because Niepi on that left side specifically plays so aggressively. And it's not just him. You see Genu with 5 hits as well, and the D gets hit in a little bit as well. Patsburg with 8 hits. This team not afraid to be physical and throw the body around. We'll see if Frolunda can adjust to that. It's one of the things they're best at doing. They play their game, but they can also adjust to the way that the game flows and adjust to how their team is playing them. And it's one of the things that makes them the elite of the elite.
Yeah, it definitely does. And if we were going to kind of keep our eyes out for a player here on Frolunda, we've obviously spoke about IQUE. What about over on IQ?
For IQ, I think specifically, I kind of alluded to it earlier with the forwards. I'm going to go with the defense here. Patsburg, a goal and 3 assists last week, 4 points in the 2 games he played, also those 8 hits, didn't take a single penalty. He has really been able to help generate offense for his forwards up front, especially with the breakout. He's a guy I really think can make a difference in this game, especially with how high-powered that Frolunda team is, especially offensively. So I'm going to be really interested to see how Playmaker and Timu come in and defend that there on the right side for IQ. Expect a lot of plays to come from that right D on the breakout. They really love to take advantage of that. We'll see if Frolunda can shut that down, or if IQ can continue the momentum that they had last week, being able to really put a lot of points on the board and not allow many in their own end.
Yeah, either team's coming out without a loss in this. Goaltending being very strong on both sides as well here, Major.
Yeah, goaltending very strong on both sides. So strong for IQ that they only allowed 1 goal in 2 games played. A shutout in game 2, a win in game 1 that was 3-1. I'm really looking at their goaltending to really step up for them. They're going to need a big performance. You know Frolunda's going to get their opportunities. We'll see if IQ can minimize those opportunities for Frolunda and get into their own zone to make it a little bit easier on the back.
Yeah, this could be a forward battle, defense battle, goaltending battle. We really don't know as we get into this game. I'm very excited, as it sounds like the players have started heading down to ice level here, Major, and we're going to be ready to drop the puck very soon.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. 2 of the top teams in Europe. Who could ask more? The Caps, they do it big. This is no different right here. I'm looking forward to these 2 with IQ and Frolunda. 2 really good games, maybe 3.
That's definitely right. It is going to be who wins the first 2, Major. So it could take 3 games. It could take 2 games. But let's pop over as we get ready for puck drop. And Nick, you got to be excited to call this one.
I really am. Thanks, guys, for the amazing in-depth look into some of these teams and the players. And like you said, could be a battle of the forwards, could be a battle of the goaltenders. Regardless, we are here. We're glad to be here. Happy to have you there. It is the Caps Gaming Showcase, live to you today on twitch.tv/Capitals. Nick DeMeo, Tegan Blair, B Major. You know us well. You're about to know the players even better if you are an NA fan watching this for the first time. You are looking at some amazing gameplay from across the pond. The team in the red. Going north on your screen will be Frolunda, formerly Fila. We talked about that in the pre-show. Going south on your screen is going to be IQUE in those green and white jerseys. I like the little neon trim. Playmaker back to the Loimu. Loimu shot on there from the left side. Timu. Talk about more with him later on as well. And now Niepi up the right side. That's poked away quickly and worked up. Playmaker to Eki. You know those names have talked to each other a lot as a shot comes across. And Teme making the kick save across the length and the mouth of the ice there. And the mouth of the goal, pushing that one aside. Early shots coming right now from Frolunda as the pressure's on. Huge hit by... that was Ginu on Timu, as I'm stretching out and exercising my European pronunciations as well as we can. But here we are, already high-octane action as we have a delayed penalty coming up. We will get into the first penalty of the game, Tegan.
Yeah, and IQUE is going to get their first chance here in the offensive zone. You were watching Frolunda doing a great job moving the puck around, activating their defense. We'll see here as the power play percentage pretty good for IQUE with 28.5.
28.6% power play percentage, as you mentioned. We'll see if they can capitalize and keep that nice 1-for-4 average, extend it out one more game. Frolunda, as we know, defensively minded when it comes to penalties, but took one early on. They'll flip that one out. That is Playmaker throwing that one deep. They'll go and give chase. Move it up the right side. Niepi again. Moving around Patsburg on the left side. Crushed there. Timu with a huge hit at the blue line on his wing checker. And that one was pushed away as well. Half minute left here in this extra man advantage. Kape not been tested yet, but we'll see if a shot comes in on this power play with just a few seconds left. That one's thrown again back deep. They'll give it chase. One last rush down the ice. Up Niepi right side. Dangling through. That one won't get too far into the zone as it will come out, and we'll go back to 5v5, 6v6 hockey. Playmaker spinning around, looking for a lane. Shot there in front. Wrist shot. Another second chance effort. That one was loose in front, and Kavalko's going to clear it out. Coming along center now. He'll just carry it in. That's dropped off. Still pushed in deep. At the half boards now, fighting for it. Kavalko back in down low. He'll circle around the back of the net, get it out to the point. Patsburg, one-time shot, and scores! Coming in D-to-D, that's Nico with the goal, and what a beautiful goal from the pressure.
Yeah, I think that was tipped, actually. Ginu got his twig on it in front there, Nick, and he was able to tip that in. What a play. The hand-eye on Ginu, very good, as it's actually an inside body tip between the twig and the body, and he makes no mistake going upstairs.
What an amazing tip getting in front. I guess the trope from NHL 20 was hold B. They did that. They're playing on PlayStation, so what's that? Circle, I think, line.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and maybe that dials them in a little better, but a great job here by IQUE to start things off.
Loimu trying to respond back quickly here. Eki pushed up in the corner, trying to fight out of it. He'll fall and lose his balance onto the ice. Getting up slow now. Lots of stamina drained from that. Wrist shot short side. Good save there by Teme. Still in now. Playmaker circling around left side. That wrist shot goes on. That one's pushed out to the left at the half boards now. Playmaker recovers. He'll carry that in. Down deep. Looking Loimu. Shot in there. That's kick saved away. Loimu was way up the ice and almost lost it on the counterattack back in, but it's back in the zone. They'll go back at the attack one more time. Left point now. Timu was looking for his D partner in Loimu. They couldn't connect. They'll go back and give it chase. 6:20 to go here in the first period. Frolunda down by 1. IQUE gets the first goal early here in the first period of this best of 3 between these two clubs tonight. Two fight in the corner. Patsburg's going to cancel that one out. Picked up by the centerman in Potslev. Potslev shot in. That one made it through, but hit a couple of white jerseys instead. Carried out now over into the attacking end for IQUE, who's got the lead now. They'll throw it and bank it across the boards. Patsburg was looking for that D-to-D pass, and he also missed on the connection there, line.
Yeah, very good answer here from Frolunda as they come back after this goal, and it has been all them so far remaining out this first period.
Playmaker going to work in the corner. He'll turn with it, but Niepi took it instead. That one's still in the zone, but Kavalko will finally clear. Give it out, Ginu, left side. He's trying to work with it now in the left defenseman. Up the right side now, Patslev in the zone. Back out, one-time chance, kick saved by Teme. Teme looking great so far through 18 minutes of internet online virtual time, as it were. Play will still continue. Under a minute to go here in this first period. Opening contest, opening period in this best of 3 as we'll go offside. 41.9 seconds to go.
Yeah, great job here by IQ's defense. You see that Timu is making the first save, but their defense is there just to grab those rebounds, and that's huge in an esports scenario as so many goals go in off second chances.
Haven't seen too many face-offs here. We saw one more there. That might have been 3 or 4 on the period as the final 3 seconds here. Spinning in front. Tries the leading pass out there for Niepi, but it won't connect, and that's going to do it. Going into the locker room at the end of 1. IQ 1, Frolunda 0.
Not really what we expected coming into this one, but a fantastic tip right in the middle there puts IQ up 1-0, Major.
Yeah, and I think that if you're IQ, you have to really be happy with where you are to start out, not only just this game, but this series. Starting out 1-0, getting a goal in that fashion, and even though they might not have the time of the possession and the opportunities, we knew Frolunda was going to come in and play well in this game. They are an elite team for a reason, as is IQ is, though. They know that they can compete with Frolunda. They feel they can compete. Obviously, you get the 1 goal. That's huge to be up 1-0. Frolunda with a great response. You hope you can get a little bit more time in possession on your offensive end if you're IQ. You want some more shots on that, but you have to be happy with the 1-0 lead. We'll see if Frolunda can respond. They looked really good in response after that first goal.
Let's see if they can continue that pressure through period number 2. Frolunda versus IQ. Face-off down and 1 back by Frolunda. The D-men will exchange a couple of passes before taking it, or trying to take it at least, into the zone. We'll go offside early on in the second. But Lime, the response here for Frolunda, pretty much just play your game, right?
Yeah, they don't need to do anything special. They just keep on their horse and going the way they're going. They're going to continue to be well. This game has been very good for them in the first period, never mind the score, but it really has been all of them with the shots leading 5-1.
1 shot, 1 goal. That's all that counts, even though there was 5 shot attempts. Only 1 made it onto Cape. That did lead to the opening goal of the contest. And a little bit of a rhythm exchange here. Rhythm might be a dancer if you're a fan of the 90s music, but nevertheless, face-off is upon us. That one's 1 back. Frolunda pushes, wins, tries to get up into Eki. Eki with the stick lift. He missed. Now Niepi up the right side and down the ice. Right in the middle. Cavalco had a lane, didn't shoot, laid it back to the D-men. They're going to circle it a little bit, try to work the outside and gain some ground. They can't. That one gets stolen. Up to Eki. He'll push it along to Playmaker. He'll corral that one in, but offside again. Frolunda just can't get their rhythm coming into the zone.
Yeah, and not only that, great job by IQ's defense to keep Frolunda to the outside. 3 offsides, showing they're playing great D.
8th face-off of the game so far. 1 back to Frolunda yet again. They've won 5 of those. Wrist shot there. Loose change. And Potzloff with the goal. This one's tied up at 1 off the rebound right there at the doorstep.
Great shot by Timu. He notices that Potzloff is in position in front, and unfortunately, the IQ's defense can't eat up that rebound. We spoke about it in the first period, Nick, where they were kind of gathering those rebound chances. There's a perfect second chance by Frolunda, and we have a 1-1 hockey game.
Tied up now, 16 minutes left here in the second period. Best of 3 between these 2 clubs. Up into the corner now and working it around Niepi. Circles around behind his net. He'll carry it along. Pottsberg will give that up the right side. And that one's at the half boards again. Eki going to work with a lot of speed now. Playmaker back on the counterattack. Cavalco will take that away. And the 2 will meet at center. That's going to be Loimu picking it up, leaving it out for his left winger in Playmaker. Those 2 know each other extremely well as well. No strangers here in this competitive esports contest from our European division of the Caps Gaming Showcase. Right side, Loimu, slap shot in. Oh, and that was a rebound chance, waiting for Playmaker at the door. He couldn't get there. That one's pushed back out to center. They'll regroup in the defensive end, will Frolunda, as IQ is now in a full trap mode, trying to stop the rush from coming into the zone and playing defensively to suffocate out the outside attacks from Frolunda. That one's poke checked and will reset the offsides. They tried to do so, but couldn't at 10:25 left here in the second.
Well, there's a big hit at the line, and we're getting a taste of defense from Frolunda as well. They've also started to look back to the points. They were moving the puck down low a lot through Eki and Playmaker, but it looks like they're starting to open up back to Timu and Loimu.
Timu and Loimu back on D for Frolunda. Loimu has that one. Cross center, Timu, now Playmaker. Playmaker looking for the wrist shot, couldn't get there. IQUE will recover it. That one's met by Pottsberg. He'll take it away and keeps the puck through 2 checkers on him. Great move there just to stay patient and get that out of the zone. The Epi tried to feed that one back out to the defense. They couldn't get there. Kavalko's got it behind the net now. Ginu now up in the Epi, trying to lead there. Playmaker's got to step on him. Can he beat the defenseman? He could not get there. Still had it, but offside. At 7:46 left here in the second. A little bit of speed through the neutral zone here, Lime, in the middle stages of this frame.
Yeah, and watch out here as Frolunda sets up in the offensive zone draw. They're very good on face-off.
They win that one again, but couldn't recover the puck, as that was another attempt for IQUE to put pressure on the defense. Meanwhile, in the Epi, right side at the blue line, they'll meet. A bunch of bodies on the puck. That one will come out of the zone through center. Now Playmaker again through the legs deep. That one's poked aside. And he'll fight for it in the corner. Outcoming with it. Looking for a lane. Can he get there? No. Kavalko will take that away. Up to Timu. Timu back down. Playmaker in front for IQUE. Couldn't get that one in. Second shot in there. Hits IQUE instead. That'll go wide. Third shot there. Kavalko, that one hits that time. No shots got on net through those 3 shot flurries there, Line.
Yeah, and it looks like they've kind of changed their game up and are looking for those second chances. If it's not broke, why fix it? As you see a tip there from IQUE on how they got their first goal of the game. So maybe both teams going back to their roots here a bit, Nick.
Might be that, and I know that they're going back to the well, looking for that tip-in shot again. Kape's not been tested much so far, but he made that save to keep this game tied late in the second period. That one's flipped over to the right winger for IQUE. In front, backhand chance did not get through, and instead Playmaker tried to push that one out to Potslov, and he will. Now he's got it back on his stick. Right side now, Playmaker back on the give and go from Loimu, and now Loimu's out of position. IQUE's going to have to play D, and he'll get there with the Epi on the right side. He'll take that away. That's the 1v1 talent of IQUE, playing defense when he has to, but we're going to be iced, and we'll go back into the defensive end for Frolunda with just under $140 here in the second.
Yeah, I was going to say most people would see that tiny build of IQUE back there on defense, but when you have a guy like him, you definitely don't have to worry. He makes a fantastic play with the poke check on the right, and we'll see what Frolunda does here.
Push win was won by Frolunda, still in the zone though. Kavalko tried the 1-2 back out to the right side or left side. Scratch that. Under a half minute here in the second period remains. Still tied at 1 after Patslov made this one tied in this period. One last effort, 5 seconds to go. That'll be met at the blue line. Kavalko will clear it, chipped up to himself, puts a shot on. Won't matter as the horn sounds, and at the end of 2 now, we are tied up at 1 as we look at the goal here, or the hit here rather.
Yeah, we kind of spoke about this beforehand on how massive IQUE threw their weight around Meja, and they are continuing to show it here as we have an even hockey game.
Yeah, they're known for being able to be aggressive and throw the body on defensively, and it's not something that they have strayed away from, and they've needed it. Frolunda's had a good amount of zone time, but give IQUE a lot of credit. There was a little bit over 3 minutes of time on attack for Frolunda in that first period. Only about a minute and some change right there in the second, so a lot more neutral zone-based time and a lot more opportunities for IQUE compared to the first period. I think that one of those tip goals after a while are going to go in. You've seen IQUE a few times for Frolunda specifically really set up in front of that net. Don't be surprised if the next goal, if it comes from Frolunda, is off of a potential screen or a tip opportunity. Should be a good one. This seems like it's going to be one of those typical low-scoring defensive strategic battles.
Third period underway now. That's a quick face-off win by IQUE. Poke checked free. They recovered it for a second. Pattsburg now has it at center ice, and the Epi's going to take it back in. We'll see who breaks open the goals. And the tie here will at least get one more goal to determine the winner of this game in this best of 3 of the Caps Gaming Showcase presented to you by Leidos, powered by Leaguegaming. Into the attacking end, but not for long, as Frolunda looking to establish some outside pressure, and IQUE staying with it now. That's a nice little pass there, intended up for Kavalko. He's got it off the steal. Dangerous opportunity in front, as Loimu almost gave that up to Kape. He's going to fight for it out the right side now, looking for a pass up to IQUE. Couldn't get there. Kavalko steals it instead. Back down behind the net, wrapped it along the left side. Pottsberg will be met there and crushed there by Timu. Timu pushing that one away. Now still with it, though, was IQUE. IQUE putting the pressure on right now as Frolunda came back to support that puck in order to clear it out of the zone. They couldn't. Dangerous opportunity there as Ginu's looking for the puck. He tried to get that one and steal it. but he couldn't get much on it other than a poke check. Kavalko will take it back down the ice, though. He's met at the blue line. That's going to be broken free. And up now to Playmaker.
Great start here for IQ. Is in the first 7 minutes of this hockey game, it's been all of them. Let's see how they carry on.
As IQ looking to break open this tie and take this to a 2-1 game. Loimu out to Timu. And they couldn't connect as the defense looking stellar for IQ right now, keeping everything to the outside as that shot gets in. Good save there by Teme.
If they continue to play like this, it's going to be a totally different period, as there's a huge body hit, and here they come, IQ in front, and that's so close, Nick. As the puck gets moved around on the outside, another big shot is going to be blocked here. What a great job here by IQ in the offensive zone. Puck still picked up. Good passing. Here's Vecchio comes in, and he can't put that one on, and a big save from behind the net. As Frolunda is just trying to weather the storm of IQ. Left-hand side, Eki drops that back to Timoy. Eki now down low. Move back to the point. Shot is on. It's going to be blocked. Patslap in front. And he can't put that one on. As a good play by Genu to get it back. Playmaker fires that. That's blocked to the side. Timu now is playing down low. But it's going to be IQ breaking out. Niepi moves that one ahead in front, and that's so close, but ends up in the right-hand corner as it popped past Cactors, as he's been great for Frolunda. Or Cape, my mistake. Puck over on the right-hand side is Eki trying to bring it in. Full body force. Niepi moves that one ahead to Genu. Puck behind the net now is Kavalko, my mistake, as Playmaker now out for Frolunda. As Nick, very good offense here with 3 minutes to go in the third period.
Yeah, a lot of offense here and some crazy odd man rushes leading for IQ to just put the pressure on right now as Frolunda's going back to try to regain some ground here as Niepi's got it right side. Under 100 seconds left in the third period. Will we see an overtime or a last-minute heroic goal from either club here? Eki's trying to go for the steal. Stick lift does not connect. They're behind the net. Real-time minute will conclude this period. They tried the Omaha. That bounced off Patslav. Timu staying home. Smart move by him to do that. Kavalko still got it in the zone, though. Slap shot in from the center point area. That one's pushed aside. Niepi's got it in the corner now. Kavalko back on the stick. Trying to fight this one out of the zone is Frolunda. Can they get there? Another missed pass by Timu. They couldn't connect for maybe the 5th time, and that has been a challenge so far on the defensive end for Frolunda. 25 seconds to go here in this third period. As Patslav keeps it in the zone. Up right side, Playmaker. Playmaker couldn't get that one past the defender. Niepi's going to take it out again. Up the right side now. Genu looking for it. That one's a wrecked shot as he got hit as he tried to put that one on net, couldn't connect. Playmaker's got him, but great back checking here by, off the iron though, as I was going to say, IQ coming back. Great effort as we hit the buzzer, and that could have been it there, that last ditch shot as we look at the game saver from Cape, but no, the iron might have been the game saver here, Lime, as we are tied and going to overtime.
That was gorgeous. You know, to be honest with you, Nick, I think that was Frolunda's only real scoring chance there, as IQ really poured it on in the third. What do you think, Major?
Yeah, IQ was dominant in that third period, and I think they really have to be feeling good about how they played, especially from about that 10 to 2 minute mark. I don't remember one time where Frolunda was really able to even get in their zone, and there were a lot of really close opportunities in IQ in front of the net where it was just about an inch or two or a bounce or so away from being a 2-1 game in favor of IQ. I think they're going to want to really keep doing what they did in terms of the zone time in this overtime period, and for Frolunda, that was a really big opportunity. We'll see if they can build on that last chance and continue doing what they did in the first 2 periods, or if IQ can get back in this game and take this thing in overtime.
Overtime hockey. It wouldn't be a Caps Gaming showcase if we had it any other way. We are here to bring you the conclusion of this game here as we have a wrist shot coming in from way outside, but that almost caught Teme sleeping as he will recover that and glove it in for a draw.
They almost scored from out there right at the end of the third period, so why not shoot from outside? Playmaker with a good play, but Teme better save.
Face off there, won by IQUE. Tried to dipsy dangle that one around. He almost succeeded in doing so. But that one's turned away. Twisted up the right side. Now Patslef. Patslef to IQUE. IQUE in the corner now, Playmaker. They're all coming back to the puck, trying to get this goal to decide game one of this best of three. Team effort here as we go offside. Something to note here, Lime, as we talk about, you know, these scoring opportunities, lots of them. But this is an EU division. We're seeing a more of a team-based play. Shots are just 9-4. We're not seeing a lot of shots, but you won't typically in this type of contest.
Yeah, my buddy Heroic Doc in the chat saying there that it's crazy how the difference is in play style, and you're seeing it here.
Timu shot in. That was going to be Loimu up at the right side. He was looking for him on the tip. I've seen this play before, Tegan. It's interesting to watch as IQUE will shift around with Loimu coming in, and it kind of catches the defense out of position. It almost worked that time as the shot got through, but Teme made the save as we're back out to IQUE. Set play here. Wraparound chance was coming in front of the mouth of the goal. As I say wraparound, but he was trying to wrap in front of the goal to put that one on the short side. Couldn't do it. 2-on-1, back the other way. Backhand chance, and he scores! The game winner was the man that opened up the scoring, and IQUE will take game one 2-1 in overtime.
What a huge goal by Genu. I am overly impressed. The man that opened it up with the tip, he got speed to get in behind the defenseman, and that is a great play, Major, as he receives that pass and goes backhand and tucks it in 5-hole.
And you know what is so fitting about that play is that in that third period, the difference, I believe, at least for IQUE, was they were getting a lot more of those quick on-man rushes. You didn't see that a lot from them in the first or second periods. Really started to open up there. How fitting is it that in overtime, the 2-on-1, the pass over to the winger, it just... perfect play there for IQUE. A really well-deserved win to be able to fend off Frolunda after that first goal, who really came out furiously after allowing that one. And then the third period is like a flip of a switch there for IQUE. Really started getting possession time, really started getting opportunities in front of the net. And then overtime, finally being able to break the ice is Genu. A huge win for IQUE.
Massive win for IQUE and a pretty interesting game, Mages. The first period was really all IQUE as they came out. They got that tip goal. They started off very strong. Or, sorry, my mistake. It was Frolunda that was actually very strong in the first period. And then, like you said, a flip of the switch. It was like something I'd never seen. That third period, the only scoring chance Frolunda really had was that low, deep left-hand corner shot that ended up off the post in like the last 10 seconds of the period. So a great job by IQUE, and they really kept their foot on the gas against a team that's really known to take teams and just throw them away.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, too. I mean, obviously, we came in, we knew what Frolunda can do. They've won the championships. They've been everywhere and have done pretty much anything you want to do as a competitive Sixes team, whether it be on the EU or NA side of things. IQUE, we know them. They've been there. They've been around. They've competed for playoff runs. They've played this Frolunda team in playoff series previously, but they have not been able to get to that top of the mountaintop level to where they've been able to bring home that big one. What a bigger way to make that statement, to say we are here to not just contend, not just to make the playoffs and make a run. We're here to win a title. And what way to make that statement than to beat a team like Frolunda. And after Frolunda really looked like they were going to come out after that first goal and really take it to IQUE. They were dominating those first two periods.
Totally agree. And I think for IQUE moving into this second game, Major, it becomes more of a breakdown game. They want to win period by period by period. They're not so much focused on playing for Frolunda in the next game so much as winning that first period, winning that second period, and winning that third period of hockey to get them into the next stage. As you know how huge this is for IQUE and how they're going to want to beat this team. And it would be a statement here in week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't expect Frolunda to play the way they did in that first game.
No.
I think that you could, if you talk to anyone on that Sixes team right now, they would tell you we are a much better team than what we showed. I expect Frolunda to come out and really take it to them. But IQ, if they can play the way defensively against Frolunda, the way they did in that first game, I think they have a really good game 2 and potentially game 3 ahead of them. That was a really solid defensive performance because Frolunda was taking it to them. Having that much offensive pressure on you can get to you after a while, just naturally. It's hard to sustain that long against a team of that talent. Give IQ's defensive acumen a lot of credit because that is not easy to do against anyone, let alone a team of the likes of Frolunda.
You're totally right. And I spoke about it in the first period where they were really keeping them to the outside, Major. And then you were watching the shots come on and the defensive IQ pick up those rebounds. Frolunda just started shooting from everywhere. You were seeing it in the third period and the overtime period where Nick was pointing out playmakers shooting from the far right-hand side and trying to catch Teme on those angles.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we kind of saw it being alluded to in the chat. Not many one-timers really at all. I don't think we saw one really that entire game. Frolunda uses a lot of those one-timers in the way they play. They don't try to go for them, but when they're there, they take them. IQ did not give them a single one of those opportunities, so you kind of have to adjust to give yourself opportunities. They did that, but IQ adjusting right back, using their, for a better lack of terms, their IQ. So great adjustments from both sides, a strategic factor. Interesting to see how this game 2 and how both teams respond to what was a thrilling game 1 between Frolunda and IQ.
We say 200 IQ, and they're going to need it in this one, Nick, as wow, do they ever look good as we've got a great game ahead of us.
You're absolutely right, Tegan. Man, what a great analysis there to break down that overtime game. We flipped it here now. IQ in the black jerseys going south on your screen. Frolunda in those white trimmed with red going north on your screen. And for these two teams, this best of 3 is going to get real interesting really quickly as this modified Swiss format. We will see a best of 3 determine the series winner as Nieppe trying to get past his right D marker. Almost got there. Kape, loose puck in front. He's going to capture that, slow it down, and not get dissed from that puck. Shout out to Conceded as we have a quick striking start there to the first period.
As it looks like we might have a lineup change here, Nick, where Genu, the gentleman scoring both of the big goals here for IQ being pulled out.
So we'll see action here. Shot in and score! Tipped in the same way. Turnabout is fair play. And Frolunda from the right point on to IQUE's stick on the tip in. It's 1-0 for that hockey club.
Now, if you were paying attention earlier, Nick was talking about how IQUE shuffles himself into that spot, and that is exactly what we got there. He doesn't just stand there. He works his way in from either behind the net or the right-hand side, gets himself in front, and what a great tip there to go up 1-0 for Frolunda.
IQUE looking for a goal from all sorts of positions on the ice. Found one there on the tip. Great shot there from Loimu to put that one right to the tape. And IQUE was open enough to get there. Couldn't get tied up from the defense in IQ. As Teme will hang on to that. We'll get a draw here. 15:06 left to go here in the first period.
You're going to need tips and rebounds to beat a goalie like Teme. He showed in game 1 why he's here, and he's making awesome saves to start this one out as you see another one right there.
As Tegan, I think you're right. The team in white right now trying to identify the weakness here, and Teme's been all over the ice. We saw 2 great saves to open up the first game of this best of 3, and now they're just trying to fire the rebounds on as they tried another one to IQUE there on the tip. IQUE couldn't get there in time, but nevertheless, the pressure's mounting now for IQ, so we're seeing the tides of what NHL can be in these momentum swings, and they're coming large and in bunches.
Yeah, and that goalie back there, Teme, large and in charge, as he's got about 7 saves in 7 minutes of gameplay.
Making all the saves when he needs to. Got beat once now on that flurry. As Frolunda now leads this game number 2, as they need to win one here to push a game 3, as we'll see our first penalty of this game a power play now for I think that's going to be for IQ's in the box, even though that was a trip. That was a weird call there, Tegan.
Yeah, I was going to actually jump in on you there. I don't think the gentleman there meant to dive. I think he was trying to do a move at the line and ended up in the dive scenario, which puts him in the box for 2.
Power play 33% as that slap shot came in late for IQUE at the right circle. Teme will hang on to that. IQ's penalty kill near perfect is perfect. 100% through the first week so far.
They've been great on the PK, and what a team to test it against is Frolunda.
See what Patsleft can do. Playmaker to IQUE in front. And a good move by Patsburg to push that one free off his tape, as that one was set to go into the net for sure. Here in period number 1, game number 2. Pass up intended for IQUE. Couldn't connect. IQUE will clear. Minute gone so far in this power play.
And they continue to be just so good on the PK here with about 30 seconds left.
Looking for it from the corner. They'll set up again. Out center point. Shot in. Score! IQUE with the power play goal. That's tip in number 2.
And just like that, we see IQUE. Now they're watching the one-timers. IQUE's just standing alone in front. Look at him there. He doesn't shuffle out from anywhere. Great tip with a fantastic screen. And what IQUE from the defensemen of Teemu and Loimu to move that puck back and forth and get that lane to make it a 2-0 hockey game as we get a breakaway here.
Playmaker looking for one behind the back, little shot in, and Teme stayed strong, stayed centered to the puck, and held on to keep this thing just a 2-goal deficit. Tegan, your point there was brilliant. That center point shot from Teemu started that process, and IQUE just tipped that one in again and beat Teme.
Yeah, and a fantastic job, and that happens from your defense. Your offense starts from your defense, and Teemu and Loimu are a great pair.
Teemu and Loimu, love the two together. They play extraordinarily well. We see it here now that they've got their chemistry upon them, as we got a interesting offside call there at 8:25 to go here in the first. A bit of a different feel to this first period than the first one there, Tegan.
Yeah, things have kind of changed a bit, and I think Frolunda has decided how they're going to win this hockey game. They've put so many shots on Teme. He's just too good. You got to get an extra tip. You got to get a rebound to score, and that's what we're seeing here in this second game.
They don't ask how, they just ask how many, as Teemu steps up at the blue line, stripping away the puck. He's got speed now. Backhand chance, score! And that's the left defender doing it all from the hit to generate the play, driving it down the ice on the breakaway, and he puts one home. It's 3-0.
That's the most exciting thing to watch about Frolunda. I said it a minute ago, is that the defense or the offense starts with the defense. And there you see Teemu on a breakaway coming in and scoring. He's not going to make no mistake on that. But, you know, it's just so great having 5 skilled players on the ice when they can actually shuffle positions, give the defense some offensive chances, have the forwards back there on D. Doesn't matter where these guys are on the ice. They're showing why they're so skilled.
Frolunda answering game number 1 with an astounding response here in game number 2. 3 goals so far. That's as many as that were scored in the first game in total by both clubs. All Frolunda right now, as that one's saucered in front, tipped over to the left side, and they'll fight for it along the boards. They've got it, cycling with the puck now as Teemu back on his stick. He's got it down low. Now out of position. The bank shot doesn't get there on the pass, as we'll get an icing for 43 here in the first.
Fantastic answer by Frolunda, and now IQUE just needs to get out of this period and start working back and getting themselves into their game. Right now, you're just seeing Frolunda's game. It is all offense. It is all speed. The defense are getting involved. Teme is being forced to make saves all over the ice, and IQUE just needs to weather the storm, rely on their goalie, and get themselves into a second period here.
As Patslaf's going to chip at the goalie Teme there on that push win set play, that wrist shot from Playmaker. Slowed down. We'll get another offensive draw for Frolunda. That one almost trickles in off the pad, and maybe the stick of Teme will get one more face off. And Tegan, like you said, it's all Frolunda right now.
Yeah, and Teme still making great saves unless they're tipped. You got to notice that. It's been 2 tips and a breakaway, so you can't blame Teme for those.
Might be a pun to your heart right here as we get a breakaway here. Playmaker looking for the forehand. Oh, almost got that one on, but ran out of runway as Teme just closed down the angle. Now we got Timu trying the same thing. Backhand, forehand, backhand chance up in the air, and Teme will slow that one down again. I got my tongue all twisted up there as the action was rampant.
Kate making games with my heart here as we got back-to-back breakaways, and what saves by Teme?
I was gonna say for IQUE right now, the big goal here is to clean up the garbage on the ice, which is a call back to the Mighty Ducks movies, which is what I was gonna say is playing to your heart. But here we are, nevertheless. 1 minute left here in the first period. That one's flipped in oddly over to Playmaker on the right side. He'll back skate into the front area. Slot area, that's a loose puck in front. IQUE tries to put one home. Second shot, third shot behind Teme, and he'll hang on one more time. And man, they need a break right now, and I think this intermission can't come soon enough.
Yeah, you know what? This is insane. Teme is just holding it down here, trying to give IQUE an opportunity to still be in this hockey game. This could easily be a 7-0 tilt here if he didn't make a couple breakaway saves. You see in front there, he makes 3 massive stops, Nick. He's playing phenomenal. And Major, you got to have great things to say about this gentleman as well.
Yeah, and I mean, you just look at the difference really between the two goalies. I mean, Teme, you kind of said that this game could easily be a lot further out for IQUE, if not for some of the saves from Teme that he's made. A few breakaway saves, a few big saves on opportunities that Frolunda created for themselves. I know Nick made a Mighty Ducks reference. Teme has to feel like Goldberg in the first one where he was tied to the net. I mean, 14 shots in the first period alone for Frolunda. If I'm correct, that's the same amount of shots that we had from both teams combined in game one. IQUE could not have had the end of this period come at a better time. I expect them to be much better in this second period. Not really able to have played their game so far, but a lot of that is credit to Frolunda. But I expect IQUE to really step up in that second period. They did not play the way they want to. Don't be surprised if they come out really aggressive here to start this next one.
As we have
14. Sorry, Nick, go ahead.
You're fine. Yeah, 14 shots in the first period. Will we see more? I feel like we might, but hey, a lot of hockey left here as a stretch pass coming up for Jergelli was intended up for him, couldn't connect. But wow, an amazing period, an amazing start to the game number 2 for Frolunda, as they were not going to take that overtime loss, lying down clearly as all 5 members on the ice, not counting the goalie, are stepping up in a big way and just really making it happen. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's so impressive. The answer with 14 shots. You know, I don't think I've ever seen 14 shots in an esports period in my life. That is a great answer by Frolunda. They did not want to take this laying down, as Nick said, and they are showing why they are a top team right now.
Wrist shot there, almost blockered. Oh, that one was almost beat Teme. Blockered aside there. That was from IQUE. He's looking for the back of the net for the 3rd time today, as that one's tipped in instead, and they score! Patzloff, the centerman, will tip that one in, and that will beat Teme on the short side. It's 4-0.
Yeah, and you know, like we get from our stats insider, B Major, who's just so fantastic back there. There's more goals allowed in this hockey game than IQUE has allowed all season, and that just shows the strength of Frolunda. They wanted to come out with a bang, and have they ever done it here in this second period?
Talk about points, they're coming aplenty right now, as first-time viewer in the chat might take a page from Tyga's book, Tip City. Tip City. We're here, though. Jergelli recovering it now. 4-0 is the scoreline, as Timu will rock that man at the center area on the ice as play will continue. Pattsburg now just trying to get something going for his team, as this one can get out of hand quickly if they don't slow it down. But IQUE, we know they have the firepower to do so. We saw that in game 1. Can they replicate that spark and get it going here in game number 2? Still plenty of time left. I've seen crazier things happen in NHL. We'll see what happens this time around as that shot gets through. Tipped in front, changed direction, but hit a couple of bodies in white. That one's pushed back out to the defensive end for IQUE. Now Frolunda's got it behind the net, though, working on it. That one's canceled. Pass intended for the left winger in Playmaker. Drageli back on the attack. Kovalko, we haven't heard his name much so far in this contest, as the play was centered through him in game number 1. Playmaker laying one up, intended for Timu. He's got it behind the net now. Rubbed off the puck. He'll recover. No. Poke check's free. That one's Patslav now at the left circle. Left circle now banks it to himself. Was looking for, might have been IQUE, as he'll intercept that one coming through the middle of the ice. Back out the other way.
What a pick off there by IQUE. I just wanted to point out he slapped that saucer pass right out, stopping a breakaway for IQUE, and those are the plays that you need to make when you want to win in a 4-0 game.
Yeah, to your point, that's a lot of the subtle movements we talked about last week in the things you have to do that are not expected of the motion of the game. If you can try something a little bit different, and maybe that's a testament also to IQUE's skill, just knowing what he can do in the game, as we got a 3-on-2 back the other way. Both wingers were back on defense during that rush, and it broke up a 3-on-2 counterattack for IQUE. Great movement by Frolunda there to keep that play at bay and keep this a 4-0 game so far. Playmaker trying to spin around 2 defenders, couldn't get there. Loima will do it instead. Sidesteps a man back up to Playmaker. He's got it in the corner. Stepping up in front, trying to tuck that one short side. Teme there. One-time chance though, center point, and Teme slows it down, finds the puck, grabs it, and shuts it in for the faceoff as we welcome Havu's team and their stream and raid into our broadcast for the Caps Gaming Showcase.
Oh, love the boys over at Havu. Got to enjoy calling them over in Europe last year. So welcome, guys, and I hope you guys did well tonight as we got a 2-1 the other way.
Drageli almost had a step on him. Timu came back to grab him, and he did so. A lot of speed from Timu there as the one-handed dangler from Patslav did not succeed. They still got it in the end, though. Timu's going to pick that one up. Wrist shot actually hit the standing up from the ice Playmaker as he didn't recover. 2-on-1. Lays out in front. That's Loimu. Second effort. Behind the net. We got a man down. Patslav's getting up. 10 seconds to go. IQUE's got to clear this. He does. Loimu up. Stretch pass up to Playmaker. Got to step on him. Backhand. Oh, and tried to go on the reverse skate and pulled it up on him. Could not get the shot off. But that's going to still be Frolunda going into the locker room after 2, 4-0.
What a bit of excitement we were just dealt there. And not only that, just great stuff here by Frolunda. That's 3 odd man rushes they stopped from IQUE. It could be a 4-3 hockey game, Major.
Yeah, easily. I mean, I think IQUE, obviously, it was not a good period for them just to be completely honest. It was a bad period for them in that first period. But you saw some flashes in that second period of what they did in game 1. Getting opportunities close and in front in the net. Making Kape have to move and think a little bit. We didn't see any of that from them in that first period. Obviously, Frolunda, when you look at the stats, they have the heavy favorables in many of those measurements, but IQUE, I think you have to like what you saw there at the end of that second period, especially in the last 3 or 4 minutes, could have made this a bit of a closer game. We'll see if they can get one quick to start this third period. They need it because Frolunda with one more could maybe put the icing on this thing.
It's already going to be a tough battle as it is, as Frolunda up by 4. I don't know what that stat looks like. We'll have to dive deep into maybe Philadelphia's or another team's stats to see who's come back and beat like Fila or Frolunda 4-0. I don't think it's happened before, but you know, that remains to be seen. This is a best of 3. All you have to do is win 2 of those games. So IQUE can just kind of observe what's going on and try to chip into the lead if they can. If they catch fire here, great. If not, there is a game 3 that will follow this to decide who wins this series. Wrist shot there, tip. That's Patslav. Now IQUE. IQUE behind the net. Tried to feed it up to Playmaker. Pottsburg will take it back the other way. Drageli will feed that one over right side. Kovalko's now got it. Back skates in. It's down in deep now. Niepi from the corner. Swinging out. Center point now. Slap shot. Hits 3 Frolunda players in the front. And that's just the entire team getting in front of the puck to slow this one down and not let the lead escape them right now with a 4-0 scoreline. Tegan.
Yeah, and, you know, IQUE doing a pretty good job here, but Frolunda's defense, I don't know if 4 goals in the third period is matchable, but they definitely need to build on some momentum moving into the next one. If they do get 4, though, wow, tip your cap to them, but Frolunda's a tough team to do that against.
Can't do it with 2 shots, that's for sure. 19 shots on the other side of the ice, And that's why we see the score we do right now. That one shot, one goal isn't going to cut it against a high championship caliber team like Frolunda. Playmaker now skating around. Backhand chance looking for Eki. And oh, that would have been a beautiful play if it connected. Still in the zone. Patsburg's going to clear it. 2-on-2 back the other way. Playmaker's going to give chase though and bump that one off the puck from the half boards. Now up again. Playmaker all over the ice. He's got to step again through 2 defenders. He is all over the place looking for that puck right now, Tegan.
It is absolutely nuts. Even in a 4-0 hockey game, you see the offensive pressure still mounting.
That one's going to trickle all the way back down 180 feet. Teme was looking for it as we've approached the middle marker of the last regulation frame. Playmaker, Patslav, centerman, wrist shot high up on the blocker's side for Teme. That one bounced off of a player in front and fell down to his feet. That's moved along now, back the other way. Patslav again looking for Playmaker. He's just finding his room all over the ice right now as Eki's behind him. Patsburg takes that one away, and it's flipped down the ice. It's going to push all the way down the end. No icing as it might have bounced off a player there. And here we go behind the net. Kape trying to stay with the puck. He will. Timu's got it. Now up to Loimu. Moved up the ice to the wingers now. Left side, Eki. Centering pass that's intended for Patslav. He'll get their shot in behind Teme, and he'll hold on for the whistle.
Teme is just phenomenal. Frolunda has to keep their foot on the gas. If they want to win this third game that we're going to be seeing here, they're going to need to put everything on Teme, Nick.
They'll definitely have to, and you look at 20, 21, 22 shots on net. I think at some point you can't blame the goalie for that many shots, but here we are, and Teme able to keep that one at bay so far. As you see the final scores coming in, for some of these games that have been played now, H-Reds winning one over Pata Halala 6-3. H-Reds continuing their dominance so far in this Caps Gaming Showcase Season 3, presented to you by Leidos, powered by Leaguegaming. Poke checks there will cancel each other out. Puck will continue its kinetic energy momentum into the attacking end for IQUE. Wrist shot on. Kape smothers that one for the draw.
As I appreciate Professor Nick bringing a bit of science into this, as I love that, is 3:27 left to go, 4-0 hockey game, Nick, and IQUE doing a good job in what they need to do next game.
Absolutely. IQUE looking to just get a couple of, identifiers, a couple of key indicators for them to figure out how they can tackle this Frolunda team who's red hot right now in game 2, but didn't look as great as they did in game 2 as they did in game 1. There is a weakness there, but can they exploit that? I know more shots needs to be the answer there for IQUE.
Yeah, definitely more shots. And getting that puck into the offensive zone, Nick, is very hard to do when you have these 5 players on Frolunda trying to track you down before the blue line. So just to build on a bit of momentum here in the last minute of the third period and get yourself into a good headspace for number 3.
I always like to say that, hockey is soccer with knives on ice. And when we look at a game like the EU, we know that they move fast. And it's kind of like soccer when the play is moved into a corner or moved across the blue line. The entire team converges onto the puck. And you saw that there where, IQ's trying to get into the zone. At that blue line, there's 2 to 3 players from Frolunda just right there on top of them, and they can't move the puck out. So once you're able to do that, that kind of shuts down any opportunity that you have, and the defense is quick enough that a dump-in chase isn't going to work. So what do you do at that point, Tegan?
Yeah, Nick, it's really hard to say because I think the defense, which I've seen a lot of, is they rotate into each other's spots. So like you're saying, they all tackle the puck. Well, say your right D gets beat, you instantly see the left D man come into that right D spot. You see the center drop to the left D. You see the left wing drop into that center spot, and that winger falls into the middle. It's very impressive to see the communication between these esports teams in Europe.
The communication being the key right now, which is why Frolunda is going to force a game number 3 here. As Timu's got it, slap shot hits Teme, and I love to see it as he was going for the 5-piece and a biscuit, and Teme, way out of his net, still able to make the save.
Teme doesn't, he's got eyes on the back of his head. He doesn't need to be facing the rock to make the save. He shows it there. This man can stop anything. If that's not a good omen here for IQ, nothing is, Nick.
He saw that puck the entire way. He drew it up like that, I think is what they say.
Right. Just how he drew it up, right?
Dangerous there at the last-ditch effort for IQ as they tried to break up the shutout, but the MVP goalie, the winningest goalie in EU history in IQUE, takes a shutout and forces a Game 3 Frolunda versus IQ in the deciding game coming up here, but the Frolunda takes this one 4-0.
Yeah, great answer game by Frolunda Mages. They came out, and I would even go far enough to say this was a different hockey team.
Oh, it was a completely different hockey team. Everything that wasn't working in that first game worked to near perfection in this second game from Frolunda. And you really just saw everyone getting in on the action. You saw Timu getting a goal. IQUE had the first two with him really just setting his office, really. I know the Capitals are familiar with a certain player having an office on the ice. IQUE's office was in front of Teme, in front of the net, really taking advantage of those tips and those screens. And really from the puck drop on down, Frolunda was dominant in this game. And let me just give a quick tip of the hat to Teme, because Teme was absolutely spectacular in this game. I know that it's easy to be down on IQ right now, but if they can play better than they did this game, I thought they played rather well in that first game and deserved to get the result they did. If they can play they win the way they did in that first game and have Teme play the way they did in game 2, Frolunda is not going to have the type of success they did in this game.
That is absolutely right. And leading back to Mage's comment, obviously the player he was talking about is Cup winner with the Washington Capitals, Jay Beagle, in his office. As we're going to get game number 3, Mage. All jokes aside, Ovi's office, baby. You know that. And Mage, this is going to be an interesting game 3. If Frolunda plays like they did in game 1, this could be a tight game 3. If they play like they did in game 2, it's going to be a wash. What do you think we're going to get, my friend?
Well, I think there is a few different angles you can look at this. You can see at the IQ side, it's, well, we played really well in that first game. We played stride to stride with arguably one of the best teams in EU, not just this year, but for many years. I mean, when they were FILA, they were one of the best teams. They're one of the best teams now, name change or not. And then you look at that game too, it's like, we know we did not play well, and our goalie backstopped us. And I think that you can either look at it as, well, they outplayed us, or our goalie played so well behind us. If we just have a few plays here and a few plays there that we played differently, this is maybe 2-2 going to overtime with arguably the best goaltending performance we have seen so far. So, I mean, there's a lot of different angles you can look at this. I think it just depends on how you can adjust, because we saw Frolunda adjust in game 2. Now it's going to be IQ's turn to make those adjustments, fix the things that did not work for them in game 2 that they're going to have to adjust on. We'll see how they do so. We know EU is about strategy. We'll see how IQ plays to that.
And it's going to be tough, Major, because as every NHL player's question, how do you stop the tips in front? How do you get in the way of that puck? What do you change in the defensive zone to stop IQUE from getting those tips? He comes out, he opens himself up. He seems to be left alone in front, but then you're opening up other options for maybe that rebound shot, maybe that cross-ice one-timer, the give and go with the D that opens up the lane that we've seen so much, Major. So it's just, what do you do to get yourself in a better scenario to stop those players in front from screening your goalie and aggressively getting those tips?
I think that's something you have to credit Frolunda with, is that you kind of have to pick your poison. You can't stop everything. If you don't want to give them that wide play over to IQUE or over to Pli, fine. IQUE will go in front of the net, camp there, get that positioning, and give his team an opportunity. When Timu or Patslav throw that puck on net, IQUE will be there to give his team an opportunity, whether it be a tip, whether it be a simple screen to kind of give Teme that lack of vision to see that puck as his goalie, or if it's a chance for a rebound, even to just turn around and tap it right back in off the pad. So it's one of those things you kind of have to pick your poison there. I think a lot of it comes down to minimizing the opportunities by having the puck in your possession. We didn't see a lot of opportunities for IQ in that first game, and we saw that in the first period a bit in the first game as well, but in periods 2 and 3, they started to pick that back up, take possession away from Frolunda, and you don't get those opportunities like that. So I think a lot of it is going to come down to being a possession game and minimizing the amount of time they have to get those opportunities.
So if we were going to be going into this and you were the bench boss here, Major, and you had to tell IQ one thing and you had to tell Frolunda one thing, what would be the main things you would tell them? As it sounds like we're getting very close to get into this hockey game.
Yeah, sounds like everyone's getting out of the virtual locker rooms here. If I am Frolunda, I'm saying do what you did in that game. It was a near game to perfection, so much so that you didn't really have to even rely on Kape at all. So from the forwards on down, do what you did in game 1 if you're Frolunda. If you're IQ, find what you need to do to adjust. You saw Frolunda do that in game 2. Now it's going to be IQ's turn if they want to take that series. Use the momentum from the way your goalie played and play better in front of them. IQ is good enough to win this series. We'll see if they can do it in this pivotal deciding game 3.
As always, thank you both for the inner game analysis, breakdown, and commentary. We appreciate it. Nick DeMeo, Tegan Blair, and Brandon Bigsby alongside with you. F5 Penguin, Lime, Nate's King Lime, and B Major, the monikers. But nevertheless, we are not the important ones. What is important right now, it is the Caps Gaming Showcase Season 3 EU Division, presented to you by Leidos and powered by Leaguegaming, as who will win this Swiss format best-of-3 series and go 2-0 on the season so far in this 8-week regular season. Backhand chance there, and that might be an answer. Cavalco scores, and it's 1-0.
I jumped out of my chair there. If you guys could see me, that was a defensive lapse by Frolunda. I'm not sure what happened. Cavalco just walked right through into the middle, and the seas parted, and he made no mistake going backhand, Nick, and what a way to start this game off for IQ.
He stepped right in on Kape and just went backhand and lifted it. And that is a heroic effort for a team that was just pummeled near 5 minutes ago. That is a different way to take on adversity, by just coming out of the gate and playing your game. Cavalco's back on offense there. He lost the puck just briefly after getting it, and now it's up to Playmaker. Right side Potslup. They'll try to get there. Can't. Now we're going back. So a lot of the right side of the ice right now on your screen. Cavalco, backhand, looking for his centerman, and that was a good effort there. I'm sorry, that was looking for Pottsburg, as he tried to bury that one, and that one's blocked in front.
I've never been so excited to talk to B Major in my life, as this is definitely not what we were expecting. I can't wait to see what he has to say, but what a great job by IQ. But here comes Playmaker for Frolunda.
Playmaker left side, Frolunda HC, the hockey club, trying to string together 2 back-to-back wins and win this series. That one's tipped, but tipped off of a skate instead of a stick. And that one's going to push off to the left side. Step on now, Niepi. Niepi trying to dance around Loimu. Couldn't get there. Right corner now. Eki working his way out, slowing it down now. And moving it up the left side is Teemu. Teemu's been all over the ice, but that time he went up the ice without the puck. 2-on-1 back the other way. Potslov giving chase on the back check. He got there, slowed things down, and that one's off the post. Saucer pass, that was a stretch pass rather. No icing though, as that one's beat out. Playmaker looking to do what he did in game number 2 yet again. As we're through center here, 8:25 to go here in the first period. A lot of action and a lot of speed so far in this opening frame of game number 3 of this best of 3. We're tied at 1 apiece right now, with this one deciding the series. Now, here we go up the ice, moving it along in for Eki. Eki gonna go chase that down. Playmaker will instead, but Pattsburg will take it up and change around the direction as he stole that one free. Now we're spinning around. Jurgelli in front. Kape, that was loose, but he finds it, and we will get a whistle.
That's how often we see spinoramas in esports, guys. I couldn't believe that either. You heard it from Nick. Now we're spinning around, and what a head-spinning period this has been. Is usually in NA, Nick, if it's tied 1-1 and each game needs a win, it's going to be more defensive. This is all offense, and I love it.
All gas, no brakes, they say, as we see more action here. Teemu up on the play. Eki on the left D there, picking up the position, as you mentioned, in the middle game analysis here. So we're under 5 minutes to go here in the first. Up the right side, Playmaker spinning around, looking for a lane. Pushed up against the boards, held, fights out of it. Great move there. Now Timu with a shot there, and that's pushed aside by Teme as he stands tall right now. As Reality Check winning their game against Hokur at 1-0 here as the scores come in, and that one's lasered off the iron. Man, shots coming in aplenty right now, and they are being fired with speed and authority onto these goalies right now, Tegan.
It's absolutely phenomenal. You see IQUE with a one-touch deke to get around the defenseman. This is just back and forth excitement, just full bore, and wow, is it ever good stuff. It feels like we've already played a game here in the first period. I'm so excited for 2 more periods of this action.
102 seconds. Shout out to Doc Emmerich remain in the opening frame here of game number 3. 1-0 IQUE as Kavalko opened up the scoring early on as they definitely answered the question of can IQUE recover. So far, that answer's yes. Niepes got it on second chance and scores! Kavalko with his second.
Wow, this is a 2-0 hockey game, and Kavalko is putting the team on his back. What size backpacks do they have over there in Europe? Because look at the individual effort. Oh, I thought that was him that came in and got it. He was actually right place, right time, Nick. It was someone else with the big individual effort there.
Yeah, the individual effort, but then the team effort, allowing that thing to get into the back of the net, beating Kape on the other side of the ice this time, and Kavalko gets his second. He will be credited with that goal. But nevertheless, here, final 5 seconds, you don't want to give up a goal in the first or last minute. They did, I think, both here. As the time will wind down, the puck will bounce off of a Frolunda player, and going into the locker room after 1 in game 3, IQUE up 2-0.
And I got to give credit where credit's due. It was actually Niepes, Nick, that made that individual effort, bringing himself into the slot, but a great job by Kavalko. Not only did he part the seas, he gets one back door, Major, and buddy, what a hockey game we're being dealt here in the first period.
Can I just say, IQUE, I don't think that we have seen a team be able to flip the switch in so many different points in this series the way IQUE has. They were getting dominated in that game to come back in game 3 and really just take it to Frolunda. And I know we're shocked. How would you feel if you're Frolunda? They went from having 14 shots in the first period of the last game alone to being held to a fat donut in this period. What a response from IQUE. And I know our friends here in NA have to be loving this fast-paced, quick action, little reminiscent of NA play. We'll see if IQUE can keep this up, but a thrilling first period. Can't wait to see the next 40 minutes.
That might be the first time I've heard fat donut be used in an NHL esports broadcast, and I am 100% here for it as the second period is underway here. Nick DeMeo, Tegan Blair, Brandon Bigsby alongside with you for the action here tonight in game number 3 as that stretch pass intended up for Playmaker as they try to fight back into this 2-0 deficit right now. And if I take a page out of Gary Thorne circa NHL 2001, a two-goal lead is the most dangerous lead in hockey, Tegan.
Yeah, as we've heard that multiple times, haven't we? And, you know, there's only one thing I like more than B Major, and that's a great big donut. So I'm here for it, too. We'll see what Frolunda does in the second period.
That was fat donut, but here we are as that one's almost Michigan behind the net. Playmaker going to work from his kitchen as that shot's in, tipped in front, and they score! IQUE breaks into the lead. It's 2-1.
And just like that, May just said it himself. You got to pick your poison in the defensive zone, and that's tough with IQUE in front. Not able to get in front, and there it is again. Another tip goal past Teme. Usually Teme can see the puck, make the first save, but it's very hard, Nick, when you have these tips in front.
You have to get shots on net. That is the way the game works. And you have to play the way the game allows you to play. That is the way the game is wanting to be played right now. And it's working for Frolunda. They are hammering, chiseling, pretty much like Michelangelo did to the statue of David in the 1400s. They are working away at trying to get back into this game. And they're doing so right now. And they do, picking up the garbage. They score, and this game is tied.
Well, I know Mage is going to talk about flipping a switch here because just in the first 5 minutes, it's all Frolunda. Teme makes 2 of the first 3 saves, but as a defensive core, you cannot let anybody take 3 shots on your goalie from top crease without expecting 1 to go in. We got a brand new hockey game, as my coach used to say back in the day. If we would have known, we could have started here, Nick.
As Patslov getting active, Teemu going to work just all over the ice, and the loose pucks in front turning out to be advantageous for Frolunda and disastrous for the team in white in IQUE right now. And if I don't think you can write a better story than this, as we are here tied up, middle frame, middle stage of game 3 to decide who wins this series this week for the Caps Gaming Showcase, as that shot from Eki did make its way to Teme. The rebound chance in front, second effort. Good save by Teme. That one's off the post, and the play will continue. 3-on-2 the other way if they hurry. Back checking is Patslap. Slowing it down, Nieppe tipped in front now. That was intended for Jurgely, but off the rebound, off the back, and they score. IQUE is up 3-2.
This is the most exciting game of hockey I've ever been a part of. This is amazing. What a great job by IQUE. They come out so strong in the first period. They get 2 huge goals. Frolunda says, I've just about had enough. And Eki comes in with a couple of big bangers. And just the other way, IQUE comes back with a goal. What a great play with great force to the net. And you got to crash that net if you want to win in big games. And we're halfway through a hockey game with a 3-2 lead for IQUE.
Kape hugs the post instead of crouching down low, seeing that Nieppe was beaming towards the puck, and he didn't get down low in time, and that one bit the bullet as that slap shot bounces off of an IQUE player in front. As play will continue, Nieppe swinging that one along for Jurgely. Left side, outstretched stick from Loimu will break up that intended scoring opportunity, and they will move it up for their team now. Frolunda trying to get their feet underneath them as they're looking for a way into the zone. That one's poke check free. That's the second time during this attempted rush, as that third one finally enters through. Eki's trying to reach Playmaker. He will. Behind the net now, intended up. Now Loimu with a shot blocked in front. Second effort there, Playmaker off the post. That might have hit a player, might have hit a goalie. Not sure, but it definitely deflected out to the left. 3-on-2 the other way. Back in down low. The defense for Frolunda getting there now. The Goons overtaking Sawo Esports 4-2 here in week number 2 of the Caps Gaming Showcase. And we're offside, 4:46 here in the second.
Another thing that's pretty interesting on this, Nick, is that we've actually seen 4 one-timers after not seeing any in the first 2. 4 big one-timers here from Frolunda is put them in great scenario here to get a goal.
As the stats are not telling the full story here, 9-0 in face-off wins for Frolunda. Dominant on the draws, but now sees themselves down by 1. As they get a shot on here, Teme will hang on. The stats here, if you're a person who loves analytics, not looking great for you, as you can't figure out how a game like this is looking like this.
Yeah, the good old faithful how. The question all the players ask, but it is just a great job by IQUE in scoring when they need to, capitalizing on mistakes by Frolunda.
Eki was moving on defense there. Wraparound chance. Kavalko looking for his third. As Playmaker's got speed, takes a step on him. Looking for it. Pottsberg there on defense, shoving that one aside and keeping Playmaker to the outside as we're under a minute to go here in the second period. Left side now, Potslav. Now Eki. Eki rubbed off of it. Teemu will pick it up instead. Wrist shot there. And maybe Loimu was looking to tip that one in. Final 5 seconds. That should do it. All but a formality to close out the second period. But we will do so with IQUE up by 1. It's 3-2.
Now it becomes a very, very thrilling hockey game for a third period. Are we going to continue to see this high-flying action, Major, or is this where things start to slow down?
I think a lot of it really kind of just depends on how this first 5 minutes goes and where the possession goes. In this game, IQUE has thrived on that fast pace, run and gun style, something that we hadn't seen from them at all in the first 2 games. A lot of it was defensive, strategic, cycling, quick pucks on net, tips, things of that nature. This game, it's been run and gun style for IQUE, and that's gone to their benefit. I think they're going to try to keep imposing that as long as they have the puck in their possession. And for Frolunda, I think they can play that game, but I think they prefer it to be to their style, to where they have possession and they slow it down to an extent, but slow it down enough to where they can get to those opportunities where we see IQUE at the point and we see one of the defensemen be able to go up and take advantage offensively. We haven't seen that much from them this game. We'll see if they can convert on it, but man, what a first 2 periods. Can't wait for the third and maybe a fourth.
As the third period is underway here, we will have a winner one way or another. Can Frolunda tie this thing up and maybe push it with a victory, or will IQUE come up with the on-paper upset and take down what might have been one of the biggest favorites coming into this showcase to win the championship in Frolunda? We will know in about 17 in-game regulation minutes as that one's tipped in front out to IQUE, and we're tied.
And there's just no chance on that one. Throw your hats for Mr. IQUE, as that's a hat trick for him, and he's in the right place at the right time. Just tipped right onto his twig. He shoots, not even facing the net, and what a goal, Nick, as that one pops out right to him. Right time, right place, 3-3. Here we go.
I think the kids say they're cracked. I think the old heads say they were feeling it. Either way, we're tied again. And will we finally see a Frolunda lead change here? Time will tell. But right now, these goals, they're not coming at a premium necessarily, Tegan, but they are coming with a fight to them.
Yeah, you're definitely having to work for every inch out there. And I guess we'll just have to see who's buzzing as we move forward.
I like it. This play will move on now. Wrist shot intended for IQUE. The backhand chance off the broken play. And we do have the lead change. IQUE makes this one 4-3.
IQUE, right time, right place, and that's his second one in as many minutes. What a great job by him, as that's the hockey IQ IQUE has. If he doesn't have the puck on his stick, he's in a position to score. That shot goes off of the twig of IQ's defenseman Pattsburg, right onto the stick of IQUE, and he's not going to make a mistake in tight with nobody around him.
2 goals in a row, turning this game from 3-2 to 4-3. As we have 15 minutes remaining in regulation hockey of game number 3 of this best of 3. Series tied 1-1 right now. As we're up against the half boards, Kavalko will take it along the blue line now through center. Pattsburg left side in the zone, but not for long, as Teemu way up the ice here. I don't know if you saw that, Tegan, but he was looking for that pass and almost got it.
Yeah, you got to be careful if you're IQUE, as you'll see. Here comes Loimu. Is Teemu and Loimu very dangerous on the offense, and they will start to activate even though they're up by 1.
In front, that's another tip chance, looking for a goal. Couldn't connect that time, but the pressure continues to mount as Loimu takes a huge shot in the corner. He's got it still on his stick. Lost it just for a second, looking to recover, but Kavalko will take that up. Now IQUE, a little bit back on defense along with Potslov. They're on the right side now. Drageli, Kavalko, shot there, kick save by Kape. And we haven't heard that much here, but he is going to work now when his team needs it the most. Middle frame here, middle stages rather, of the third period. 10 minutes to go. We will have a winner to determine this series by the end of this game, as that pass intended for Loimu, he was way up the ice, and that one won't find his stick. They'll have to regroup and try again. They will. Playmaker with speed left side now. Looking for a lane, found one in IQUE, flipped over to him. That one's thrown around, looking for Pottsburg, will just take it instead. That one's chipped to himself in Drageli. Drageli left side now, poke check free. That puck might have been a shot, but instead maybe a saucer pass, but it will come out of the zone and they will circle back and try again. They'll get in. That's Niepi now at the right side. Half boards met there again. Story of the series so far. Playmaker trying to split the defense. Loimu shot there, deflected in front. Good save there by Teme.
And Loimu is just being so offensive here, even though they're up by 1. Is Frolunda very good in the second and third periods of hockey games? Is their first 2 goals in both. the second and third periods is here goes Playmaker.
Playmaker with a step on, accosted all the way down the ice there by the defense in Pottsburg as he broke up that scoring opportunity. That one might have been a surefire insurance marker. Say that one 3 times fast. My diction exercise is going to work here in the third period. Under 3.5 minutes to go in regulation time. Loose in front. Kape will hold on and will take a breath here.
Wow, he's not going to take any chances. IQUE just needs to keep their foot on the gas, maybe start activating the defense and catching Team Loimu up the ice. They've only got 3 minutes to do so.
The question looms, will we force the OT? Will we pull the goalie? What will happen here in the game time management decision-making process for IQUE as they look to tie this one back up? Center point now, 3 men back. Pattsburg in front, deflected by Timu. So he'll throw that one up the ice, intended for Playmaker. Now Eki back out. Timu, kick save, good on Teme to keep that rebound out to the outside as we move along here. Minute, real time will conclude this regulation over third period, hockey period. That's a lot of redundancy, but nevertheless, the puck is out of the zone for Frolunda's defensive end and moved up the ice. 45 seconds to go here for IQUE to tie it. Or will
Eki looking to get 5 now, as I believe he's got 4 in this amazing game.
4 goals for Eki. Unreal showing so far for the superstar on this team. 30 seconds to go here. Everything slowing down right now, and at time just ticking away for IQUE as they cannot get a pass into the zone. That one's chipped up. Eki's gonna go get it. Jurgeli back there on defense. Gavalko trying to rally around the puck to get one last effort. 12 seconds to go. Jurgeli, now Loimu's got it. Chipped out of the zone again. Gavalko forced in Jurgeli. Can they get one on net? Here's an option. Diving in front. That's Playmaker. 2 seconds. 1. And that's gonna do it. So Frolunda, after losing 2-1 in overtime for game number 1, comes back and takes game 2 decisively and comes out of a 2-0 deficit in game 3 to win the series 2-1.
Yeah, that's just all resilience out of a team that's been in it forever and knows how to do it. Great job here by Eki and Frolunda as coming back here in the second and third period. It did look a little scary there in the first period, but you can never, ever count out Frolunda. As Major, what a great game we've had ourselves here. What a great series in IQUE, ever so close.
Yeah, that has to just feel a little gutting if you're IQUE, especially to come out in that first period to play the way they did. I mean, they were imposing their will on Frolunda. I mean, when is the last time you have seen a team with Eki, Patslav, and Playmaker be held without a shot throughout the first period? And IQUE was able to do that, but like the great ones often do, IQUE adjusted. They overcame the adversity. They didn't stray too far away from what they like to do. And speaking of big-time players showing up in big-time games, Eki, in that second period, to get those 2 quick goals, to me, that was the big difference in that game, because if IQUE goes up 3-0, you start gripping the sticks a little bit tighter, I feel like, if you're Frolunda, no matter what the talent.
Yeah, totally. And Eki only with 3 in that game, as it was Patslav who got the other one, as I did say 4. I got to correct myself there, Major, but it just the aggression out of Frolunda after that first period was unmatched. And especially, like you said, being held off of the shot board.
Yeah, and I think the big thing too here is that, especially you saw it there in that last 2 to 3 minutes, IQUE had the possession. Frolunda never really got anything going in the last 5 minutes offensively, but the defense in the neutral zone was so strong for Frolunda from all 5 skaters. IQUE was never really able to generate a quality chance to tie this game up, and it's hard to really be able to make that 1 goal differential when you're not able to actually get it opportunity to go into the offensive zone because of how strong Frolunda was, holding it down on the blue line, not letting Kape see any big high quality opportunities like they did, especially in that first period. Have to love the response from Frolunda, but IQUE, not the last time we will be seeing them. I think that they have to, at least despite the loss, feel good that they played toe-to-toe with a team that, between them and H-Reds and Havu, was one of the favorites to win this thing. IQ could be here at the very end come March.
It definitely could, and a great game by both sides, Nick. And, you know, you just tip our caps to IQ as well, as that is a very hard team to play against, like you heard just from AJ.
Yeah, that's a tough team to play against, and I think if you're IQ, there's actually a lot more positives you can take from this, despite the fact that it may have looked like pressure might have cracked them a little bit here, especially after 4-0 as a stat line. They did answer, but couldn't hold on long enough. You can't weather the storm that much. You have to keep the pressure on the other way. I think they fell under that, but there's a lot that can be said positively to maybe make them, like Brandon was saying, an option here for contendership in the playoffs. They just got to get in, and I think they can wreak a lot more havoc than maybe some of us may give them credit in the community for.
I totally agree, and this was a great test for them, and definitely a good one to show it. As Frolunda, a very tough team to play against, and they had their match pretty well made here. But Frolunda has played for a very long time. They know what they're doing. They have great chemistry, and just holding it down together as a unit and knowing they can power through at any time is just really why they succeed so well.
Yeah, I agree there. It comes down to a team that's hungry here, scratching and clawing at the surface. You know, you have a lot of teams that kind of cast a shadow over what a top EU team is. And I think you look at H-Reds, you look at Havu, you look at a lot of those names that you know for a long time. You have a couple of changes in the roster with Kape coming now to Frolunda after it was Fila. And you have a team that's wanting to seal that deal and to really chisel their way into that upper echelon. They're already there, but there's still that what if. Can they? Will they? How will they? And those second places, I hearken back to Olympia last year being second place, and then winning the big one. Are we seeing shades of that here with Frolunda? Is the new name going to be the answer for them? I don't know, but I'm excited for the pathway of both of these teams. One goes to 2-0, the other goes to 1-1 with a lot of potential and promise.
Yeah, and both teams with a lot of potential, like we spoke about as well. So I'm very excited to see, maybe do these teams find each other again down the road? I'm excited if they do.
I am as well, and I am excited that we are able to bring you another week of amazing coverage that's going to do it for our afternoon matinee for those on the stateside, our evening broadcast for those across the pond. But that doesn't mean we don't have more hockey for you coming up later today, 9 o'clock Eastern time in the PM on this channel right here, twitch.tv/Capitals. You will find another matchup here tonight as we have another rebrand to bring you in an amazing presentation. So look forward to that. And I'm excited again, Lime, to call yet another game with you. This has been incredible so far through 3 broadcasts with many more to come.
Yeah, I'm very excited just to even be here with the Caps and yourself and Maja. It's a great, talented group. The teams that are playing are very exciting to call and watch. You guys aren't going to want to miss this battle tonight. Make sure you're also tuning in every Sunday as we carry this on all the way through. All the way through,
except for Christmas break. And that's okay because we all need a second to recharge our batteries as we move through the Caps Gaming Showcase into 2022. This showcase, both EU and NA, presented to you by Leidos and hosted and powered by Leaguegaming. That's going to do it for here for the EU coverage on behalf of the entire staff from LG, from Caps Gaming, and for myself, Mr. Tegan Blair, and Mr. Brandon Bigsby. I wish you the best of health, the most relaxing afternoon if you're here on the East Coast, and we will see you in just a couple of hours for tonight. Frolunda coming back, winning this series 2-1 over IQUE. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you in just a little bit. Take care, everybody.